It is time for the Stochastic fiction game. This is a writing game of 2 hours. I start the time right now. In order to be able to begin, we have to create this stochastic outline. I don't know what it's going to be, but we'll find it. It will be less chaotic once we look at it. Once we generate it with this script here, it outputs a file. We're going to do this, and we can see that file right here. Story stochastic fiction game. And this is going to provide our outline for our story elements to write on for the next 2 hours. At the end of this game, we'll rate this story, try to read it aloud, and see if it has any words. For today's stochastic fiction game and its outline, the generated story elements to write toward for the next 2 hours is setting time present, setting main location, train, conflict person versus society, quantity of primary characters many, point of view first, present tense, genre sports, format flash fiction. All right, well, for the next now hour and 58 minutes, we will be writing a story with these story elements, and then we're rating it at the end as I read it aloud, and it is flash fiction, so it's going to be possible to at least have a complete filling story, because stories always require much editing, even after you have that inspirational write and think it's awesome and complete and great. The reality is it's usually not. So at the end of this story, while I may think it's a 4, it may only be a 1, and when I go back to read it in a few days. But let's not talk about what could be. Let's talk about what will be, which will be this story about sports, genre, on a train. Wow. Well, person versus society. Automatically, because it's on a train, I can't think of any legit sporting events that happen on trains themselves. I don't know of any train hockey or any sort of train jousting that could exist. My mind's going kind of two different places. It's either a couple kids that make up the game and want to be rambunctious through the entire cart of the train. Not sure how that one would end, other than them being caught. I've done such things when I was younger in the department store, running around, hiding in the racks, hiding behind aisles, and I remember getting caught. I remember actually being told by a person that we should not be running around the store like we were, and they were right. We shouldn't have been. It was fun, and we made it a game. That was considered probably a sport. There was a time limit. There was an objective. My second thought, my other tangent, would be going into and writing something about like hooliganism, not necessarily being a football hooligan, but any of those rowdy contestants that are going home on a train drunk, and the experience of it. Maybe the first person point of view would be you. You're the hooligan. That'd be interesting. That kind of would be fun. I've never been a hooligan before, so it'd be a detachment of fiction. I have seen plenty of rowdy people, both at American football games and baseball games and youth sports, getting all excited. This has to happen on a train, though. On a train. With the Mini, that's fine. So I can have either of these stories. Which one's more fun? First person. If I did first person, a couple kids running, then I'd have to... Would I be a kid? Yeah, I guess I'd have to do a first-person narrative of some kid, and kids are smarter these days than I was when I was younger. They got access to a lot more information, for better or worse. But I don't have any, and I just don't know how they talk. Or used to, but I've not been around it enough to sit here and fictionalize with it very easily. The hooligan part, I could play the first person, the person who's the hooligan and kind of drunk. That sounds kind of appealing to me right now. It does. I think that's what I want to do. It sounds a little bit intriguing, at least, not so dull as, I don't know. The other one could be fun too. Person versus society. I mean, both these would be versus society. Two kids playing a game on a train would piss people off and go against the many characters and society. But then the society of the hooligan too is definitely a conflict. Something that touches on. So it's pure or innocent, or be rude. What would it end? How would it end? I feel like I don't want to stew on this too long, nor do I need to. It's been 6 minutes in, and I got plenty of time. It's a flash fiction story. I don't want to throw that term out there lightly. I know it's never easy to write any story, but I write 1 to 2 of these every single week. I just got done editing 50 of them. They're in my mind. It's a matter of what I want to write today. Hooliganism, kids having fun. I think I want to go kids having fun. I'm tired of too coarse of society, and maybe it'll be a commentary against how adults are boring. Society is really anti-kid as much as it wants to. I guess it's pro-baby, pro-birthing mother, anti-kid, anti-adult. We'll help you until you have the kid, and then everything else, just make sure they don't bother me anymore. Or they at least support me with the taxes they pay so I can retire. Quantity of primary characters, many point of view first, tense, present tense, genre, sports, format, flash, fiction. I'd have to set up the... What do I want to get into the action? I mean, I got to be first person. Would it be the one chasing or chased in this case? I could play the role of the adult. Going through their head. If it's first person too, I'm going to head hop and stay there. Being one of the kids, I mean, you'd get their perspective and that'd be kind of fun. I don't think I could write like a kid though. This would be like, what, a 10-year-old maybe? Maybe that's about the oldest they get. I'm trying to think of the rambunctious age where they're small enough to not be too big and destructive, but big enough to be annoying. Probably around the age of 10 we'll go. And we'll say this is going to be a day commuter train, maybe. So it's not like they got a lot to lose if they get caught. Maybe a 3-hour ride. And after like the next last hour, do I begin it with the planning of it or how they're being chased? Or oh man, I don't know. Like, I don't want some grumpy conductor that's boring as hell. So if this is a hooligan on a train, you could do this reverse. Am I the hooligan or am I the train conductor that has to, or the security that has to deal with the hooligan, or the people that have to deal with the hooligan? I kind of want to do the hooligan. Where could I do it at? What's familiar to me? I'm not going to do some, hooligans typically a label applied to someone who plays international football, not American football, but the one with the ball that's round that they kick around with their feet. The hooligan is usually attached to that crowd in the rambunctious nature of their fanatics. which still seem to get a little bit more out of hand than the American football hooligans. Not that they don't exist. I just feel like there's more consequence. I don't know. There's less stories of it. So let's have it be a football fan. American football has to be a rivalry. And it has to be something that you'd be able to take by train. That way they could be taking the train ride there and train ride home. And that's not on, people in America use trains. But then it's going to have to be a rivalry, I feel. Like that's going to have to trigger something. And it could be the train, does train also mean like a metro train car? I think it could. So I'm thinking right now, I've got a couple experiences taking trains to games, not necessarily football, but to like baseball. One was on a literal train that you would point at and say, hey, that's a train, a passenger train on a railway. And I've been to games to where I took subway train, both trains. Subway train, I think, is probably a little more fitting because the chaos. So let's go Washington, D.C. I'm familiar with that metro area, and I've taken the metro car, and I don't think RFK Stadium exists there anymore. But there's still football to be played, and the baseball, I believe, you can still take by the metro. So let's just fictionalize that it can happen. I want to make this with a rivalry team. That'll at least sort of be maybe a trigger. And that society. Why is it person versus society? Because they're drunk and pissed off and they want to reject everything and their team lost. Now, if I did go to DC, I like that actually. Let's go that route. I can mix in a little bit of the historical context, the fact that the American football team, the Washington Redskins, are now the Washington Commanders, so I could have a hardcore, old school person with a touch of drunk racism because they're racist and they're drunk and it just comes out. Anyone who says, oh, it's the beer talking, no, it's you talking. You just happen to not care because you have beer in you. Excuse me, little stuff. Let's do that. I like that. That's something that's a little bit of social commentary, a little bit Americana. And I just want to make sure that's still a legit thing. Because if I'm going to go down that route, I'm not really going to want to do anything. All right, so I'm going to go to the search and return engine and go Metro ride from Washington Commander Stadium. I don't know, is that in Maryland now? I don't even know where their new stadium is. Do they have a new stadium or are they still doing RFK? I'm not sure. Okay, you can, on the silver blue line is the closest to Northwest Stadium, is it called? Yeah, I've only been to RFK. That's probably not even standing anymore. Okay, so silver blue line. It is in Landover, Maryland, not in D.C., which makes sense because there's a lot more land in Maryland than there is D.C. Let's do that. So, and it's 1 mile away from the stadium. That ain't too bad. It was, I think RFK was closer, if I recall, going there on the metro, and it was total chaos afterwards. And you get those people that break the rail car doors because they're fragile and they want to get jammed in. How to start this off? We got to have this person be a little bit belligerent. I don't have any dice. I'm just going to throw the male gender on the belligerent person for today. People will easily believe That the primary character, at least the character in first person. Should I do the oh man. I really want to do the belligerent person. Um but if I did the belligerent person, I don't want to go deep and go there. What do I mean by that? I don't know. Let's try the belligerent person. I may need to pause here a moment to go get coffee, but that's fine. What do I need? How do I want to start? Because, God, if it was a person, man, I'd be swearing a lot. I mean, like alcohol plus football plus loss plus rivalry equals very belligerent person, not safe for anything, much less a regulated live stream that doesn't like profanity. And it's first person. If it's third person, then I can at least get away with it. We'll get some more coffee. I'll be right back. I'm going to put up this right here and think on this. Coffee had. All right, let's get back to the words. There's an hour and 38 minutes left to write some sort of story. And I don't know. It's so we're gonna go to the hooligan. They are a Washington Commanders football fanatic. They're not gonna be sober. And maybe this could be the friend. Oh, that way it's at least a little bit more. You know, if there's many characters, you don't have to be the person. You're just the person with him that's severely annoyed. All right. I don't know why I'm calling this person John. This can be a belligerent person. Just, I don't know, the name's in the name. It could be anything. I don't know why John's on my mind. It shouldn't be. I could do the Jon. It could be Johnny. You know, I should roll for gender, the hooligan. I'm just thinking of some football fanatics I know, and it doesn't matter gender. They all get crazy. It's just true. I don't have anything to roll, though, so let's just go with what I was going to go. Let's go with Dan. Who let Dan had... Okay, let's start it off with the conflict. A command, and it's the commanders. I gotta use their old name. Yeah, I gotta throw that in there too. That way, it at least shows some sort of, hint of racism too from this person, this main character, wanting to like. Yeah, I don't know. My mind's gone. I just don't want to. I need just to have words start this thing. It's been 24 minutes and I've got quotes. Phil jostling into metro cars. Cowgirls can't beat a Redskin, shouts Dan to the Metro Tube field with Washington Commanders and Dallas Cowboy fanatics jostling the train cars. Red and gold scarves. And stocking caps. Match gloves and jacket. Now this is like, now it's like third person. Like now I'm not first person. I've just blown that out of the water. I'm starting to write this thing like it's a third person omniscient narrator with no emotion and no personal. Shouted Dan. I'm going to do this like past Dan. Shut up, Dan. Dan don't know when to shut up. Yeah, fudge, man. I gotta change this from third person to first person. Cowgirls can't beat a redskin. Again. Cowgirls can't beat a redskin, shouted Dan again, like he did after the Commanders won, after we left the stadium, during the walk here. In the turnstile. Okay. Dan, please. I said. I gotta like his big arms. The dude's small, hitting people. Just sort of like, yeah, I think this goes. What's gonna happen to Dan? Dan just throws open his arms. This is bad. People are standing. Yeah, I think this flows. I think I got something at least. Maybe not. It's a different type of narrative. I'll probably be able to tighten this up just a little bit more, but I'm still one of those people that have a hard time doing first person. So is what I'm doing here. I'm just going to go ahead and give this person an internal dialogue, an internal voice, and then try to sculpt it before it hits the end. I've got enough tension here, at least throwing in the security guard. And I need to get out. Excuse me. Can I hide in the people? Do I really need to own this? Some big dude bumps Dan. This can't be good. The dude is twice band size and wearing Cowboys jacket. Where's a minute till the metro? The digital sign. I want to move this one up here to put the presence of the police a little bit closer, to add that as sort of a bit of attention. Sooner in the story. Let me move this too. And get this out. Okay. And I want to move that up because this is a short. Who work, who war. Let's move this. That way we're also closer to the description of the tube. Setting up the conflict, make sure we drop the fact that there are police near to add a little bit to the tension. Standing for the trains. Platform full. Police walking the yellow line near the edge. Fanatics jostling. I think it's red and gold. I'm gonna go with that. Silver and blue. Okay, so this is a little bit better here. At least got this sort of set up. I want to make it look cold. Wore cowboys, scarf, jacket, and stocking cap. Is it stocking? I can't remember. Am I going to stalk someone? That is going to be enough, I think, for an opening. Let's just put people stood. I don't want to do no now. Standing on the platform. Dan threw open. Can I hide in the people? Some big dude. Was it present tense? That is right. Alright, I can change this, and that's fine. I got a narrative. Shouts down again, like did after the Commanders won, after we left the stadium, during the walk here, in the turnstile at a group of girls who wore Dallas Cowboys scarf, jacket, and stocking caps. Not again. Let's get rid of that. Let's make this say. It is present tense, right? Yes. People stand in the underground tube waiting for trains. The platform full. Police walking the yellow line near the edges. Red and gold. Washington Commanders fanatics and silver and blue Dallas Cowboys fanatics. Washington Commander fanatics in silver and blue Dallas Cowboy fanatics jostle to the platform edge and the arriving train, and the train arriving in 1 minute. Standing on the platform, Dan just throws open his arms. Present tense. Let's make that change. Hitting people. I'm going to scalp me a cowboy, he shouts through the tube. People step away. I step away. Can I hide in the people? Do I really need this? Some big dude bumps Dan. This can't be good. The dude is twice Dan's height and wearing a Cowboys jacket. The digital sign. What do I schedule? The digital schedule sign. Reads in red that there's a minute until a car arrives, a train arrives. We'll go train. Dan looks up at the big dude blowing his beer breath near the dude's neck. I don't want to do this again. My eyes plead to the big dude as I say, sorry, man. How's this gonna end? I got an hour and 11 minutes. I got a pretty good story. At least got a decent environment. I mean, it could be like the socially thrilling. Someone punches the dude, lays them out. Everyone gets a moment to clap. Yay. But let's not do that. Let's just make this person be really annoying. Finally passes out. The conflict is with the friend that has to like deal with this person. This belligerent. The big dude pushes past, leading a family through the crowd of heads covered with commanders and cowboys' stocking caps. The big dude pushes past, leading a family through the crowd of heads covered with, ass. Dan shouts, "Boys suck." Police officer. Let me just wait. Where is that at? Where do I have this person? The police walk the yellow edges, telling people to step back. All right, so then we can have the police kind of pushing through, maybe. Coffee accident here. There we go. Trying to think here. How am I gonna have this end? I think they just. I don't think nothing's gonna happen. Like I think they fall asleep on the train. I think that's just gonna be it. There's gonna be no like, there's final confrontation. I think this is just gonna be an incident where you're with that annoying friend that's belligerent, and you just want him to pass out, shut up, or go hide because you don't want to deal with him again. You question your friendship at this point in time. But that's for another story. For this story, it's just like the tension, the conflict's gone. Calm down, Dan. Pull. Calm down. Calm down, dude. There we go. And that would just to harken back to they used to be someone who can't let go of the past either. And then I'll have the narrative. Okay, this is a decent narrative. So we have a growing conflict. I think the metro car is going to arrive. There's a ding. All right, I need this. I don't know the Washington metro area. Washington, D.C. Red line from the Washington Commander Stadium. Oh, it's the blue line. Jeez, man. Is it Northwest Stadium? Yeah. I don't know if that really works out for me. It's the blue line. Where the hell does the blue line go? Can I get a map? Come on, dudes. I need a map. Smith Center, what's this called? Northwest Stadium. Oh boy. Stadium and ticket information. I just need to, let's see. The Morgan Boulevard standing is on the silver blue line is the closest station to the Northwest Stadium. The station is 9/10 of a mile from the stadium, and a pedestrian walkway offers direct access to the stadium. The downtown Largo Metro rail station, also on the silver blue line, is 1 mile away from the stadium. Okay, so what does that mean? Where is that? Silver line. You know, I've never taken the silver line before. Is that a dual platform too? I'm doing some research right now. Come on. I don't need. Okay, it's outdoor too. Oh. What about the other one? What is about the Morgan Boulevard? Is that outdoor too? I don't know these things. Never been used to the underground ones. No, they're above doors. So let's go to. I like the metro. So this is going to be on downtown Largo, and this is the silver line. And there's dual platforms, so they don't go underneath. They're not in the tube. They're not inside. So let's fix that real quick. And it's the silver line. I'll just say the silver line is arriving. I'm not going to get into location. I got 1 hour left. Well, an hour and 3 minutes left. I'm pretty confident in having a decent story. And it's not stand on the platform. Platform full. Please walk in. Step back. Cars coming soon. Red and go Washington Fanatics jostle to the platform edge of the train. Still up on our. It'd be the silver line, right? Let's just do that. Stan looks up at the big dude blowing his beer breath near the dude's neck. Silver line. Well, I gotta look this up. Now I gotta look this up. There should be a map. Map of the Washington, D.C. Silver Line. At least, there it is. Okay. We'll say this is to capital south. Where is it? Where would this ends? Like I need more map, dudes. Why am I there? Why am I want to go. I don't want to spend money for this thing that I can click on, and there we go. Okay, so Greenboro, this would be towards Tyson's Corner. No, because Tyson's Corner, this sucks. There's got to be, where's my navigating Washington, DC Metro? That's fantastic. This is the map I want. Yes. Downtown Largo. That's where they'd be joining. So it'd be at the very end, downtown Largo. They would be, this would be headed toward Ashburn. Wow, goes clear to Ashburn. Yeah, no, they definitely, that would make sense because people from this would be crowded. Silver Line for Ashburn. Dan. All right, so now I can weave in the tension here. Let's. I pull Dan. Dan jerks the shoulder. Dan jerks his shoulder and flips around, glaring at me. What? Dan's face slacks. wedges, pushes, and shoves the path deeper along the platform. Fuck, I follow. Oh, seeing sneers and scowls at Dan. I follow, seeing sneers and scowls at Dan, whose head hangs and pulls the redskin cap from hat. The hum and laser, like, what is that sound? Hum and whine of a metro train car. I mean, wouldn't they still be the hooligan? No, they're coward. They're not gonna. Once they see that there's an authority that can arrest them. A little more than I thought I'd be writing. I got time. Let's see here. The police officer stands. Silverline 2 Ashburn. How do I have this end? Like I'm there. I'm at the end. You know, it'd be just like I'm trying to get home. Not again. Can we just get home? What could I call it? Hooligan Dan. Oh, Dan, I like that. I think the yes, I think the owner name was Dan Schneider. Not anymore. I think they got sold. But that's kind of, I guess, decent for the story. Okay, so I have some sort of setup at the front. I got a name. I think I'm going to call it Redskin Dan. Harken back to the Washington Redskins old football name, American football name, gridiron, whatever you want to call that sport. Fuck. Oh, what is that? Silverline. Doors closing. Please stand clear of the doors. The metro doors open and start to close. Then open. I think he's going to be around a bunch of Dallas Cowboy fans. That's it. I'm done. I think I gotta end it a little bit more poignantly, though. I don't think they're gonna get hit. I think I got the name of the story. And it just stands there. He's silent. No longer in command. Wrestled? What is it? What is that called? The word. Not wrestled. Wrangled. What do you do? They just be quiet. Like, I think I'm done. I got a name. I got a story. I got words. I feel like it's sort of done. It's got a meta completion on it. I don't draw it out so much. I'm not sitting there telling you that Dan's humiliated or he got beat or shut up by just the fact of pressure, maybe. But at least in my experience, most of the loud people, they'll start to shut up. Okay. Well, that was fun. Let's read these stochastic story elements out loud, and then let's read the story and be done for the day and go find other things and other ways to create. For this stochastic fiction game with the story elements, setting time present, setting main location train, conflict person versus society, quantity of characters mini, point of view first, tense present tense, genre sports, format flash fiction. I think I've got all those elements in here. Whether they make a good story or not, let's read it aloud. Try to be honest. I could tell you already, I kind of like this a little bit of Americana, a little bit of truth, a little bit of reality, a little bit of experience, a lot of fiction. All right, let's do this. This story is going to be called Redskin Dan, inspired by the Washington Redskins football team that are now called the Washington Commanders. And some fans don't like that. I personally was never a fanatic of the Washington Redskins, not a fanatic of the Washington Commanders, not a fanatic of any, really, NFL team. I do like watching some football and playing fantasy sports, but I'm not a fanatic of any of them. But I know plenty of them. And let's just say this could very easily have been Sue and not Dan, because I've seen women and men get equally riled, belligerent when it comes to sports. This is called Redskin Dan. Redskin Dan. Cowgirls can't beat a Redskin, shouts Dan again. Like he did after the Commanders won, after we left the stadium, during the walk here, in the turnstile at the group of girls who wore Dallas Cowboy scarves, jackets, and stocking caps. Not again. Dan, please, I say. Look at the girls. Sorry. It was a good game. I tug on Dan's shoulder. Calm down, dude. We won. Washington Redskins scalped the Dallas Cowboys. People stand on the platform waiting for trains. The platform full. Police walk the line near the edges, telling people to step back. Cars coming soon. Don't want you to get hit. Red and gold Washington Commander fanatics and silver and blue Dallas Cowboy fanatics jostle to the platform edge of the train arriving in a minute. Standing on the platform, Dan just throws open his arms like a cross, hitting people. I'm going to scalp me a cowboy, he shouts through she shouts. People step away. I step away. Can I hide in the people? Do I really need to own this? Some big dude bumps Dan. This can't be good. The dude's twice Dan's size. And we're wearing Cowboys jacket. The digital sky sign reads, Red, that the train will be here. And it's arriving in a minute. Dan looks up at the big dude blowing his beer breath near the dude's neck. I don't want to do this again, but Dan, I slap his shoulder. Dan just stares, unwavering. My eyes plead to the big dude as I say, sorry, it was a good game. The big dude pushes past, leading a family through the crowd of heads covered with Commanders and Cowboy stocking caps. Dan shouts, Cowboys suck! A police officer steps along the edge of the platform. Dan, I pull Dan. Dan jerks his shoulder and flips around, glaring at me. What? People step away and peer at Dan. There's a ding and a voice speaking through speaking. Silver line for Ashburn arriving. The lights along the edge of the platform blink. Dan wedges into the crowd away from the police officer. The police officer, stepping through the people, blows whistle and says loud, Train approaches, step away from the edge. Dan wedges, pushes, and shoves a path. I follow, seeing sneers and scowls at Dan, whose head hangs and he pulls the Redskins cap from head. The hum and whine of a metro train leads to slight rumble and stop. Silver line to Ashburn speaks from the speakers. People press against the edge and position themselves by a door. The door's open. The police officer stands. Dan shoves people near an open door. Redskin coming through, he shoves a woman and her son. Dan swims with elbows against the stream of people leaving the train. Silver line to Ashburn. In his wake I step, feeling the glares of hate. A police officer blows the whistle. Dan shoves, Get out of the Redskin Dan's way, losers. The lights along the platform blink. Silver line to Ashburn. Door closing. The metro doors begin to close as the police officer nears and the metro police follow. Door closing. Please stand clear of the doors. The metro doors open and start to close and open again. Dan tries to duck below the people, but people step away, pointing at Dan. The police officer raises an arm to stop the door from closing as it closes. This is the Silver Line to Ashburn. Dan just stands there, in the middle of a large group of Dallas Cowboy fans, silent, head hanging, stocking cap in hand, no longer in command, like wrangled and trapped by a group of cowboys. I don't hate that. Let's rate it. I'm gonna go 4. I definitely, this would be something that I might try to actually edit and get published. It's different. I feel it has some completion to it. You get this understanding of at least the character, what the conflict, the plot is trying to get Dan to shut up. You finally get Dan to shut up. Maybe I have to make that a little more apparent, but I'm not upset about this. I don't hate it. But I'm going to go ahead and let's add this. And let's write... And, well, that's the story. That's how quick it goes, or can go sometimes, not all the time. Creation sometimes is in an instant, and sometimes it takes you years to get to that instant for the creation. No matter the journey, cherish the journey, because sometimes and likely that's all you may have.